5 important lessons young people should learn from Girald. Girald, known to the world as a philanthropist and banker, was born on May 20th, 1750 in Bordeaux, the largest seaport in southwestern France. In 1812, Girald single-handedly saved the United States government from financial collapse during the war and went on to become one of the wealthiest people in America, estimated to have been the 4th richest American of all time. At the time of his death, on 26 December 1831, Stephen's net worth totaled $7.5 million. If he was alive today, Stephen's personal net worth will be $105 to $120 billion. So how did Girald become this rich? And what can young people learn from him? In this video, we'll share with you 5 important lessons young people should learn from Girald. If you're new here, consider subscribing so you won't miss other interesting videos like this. Lesson number 1. Never be discouraged by your humble beginnings. Girald was the oldest son in a big family of 9 children and had no formal education, as there was no system of public education in France until after the French Revolution. All that he knew, he was taught by his parents and tutors. Girald was a very attentive student. He assimilated knowledge quickly and developed a thirst for learning that served him well as he grew up to be the most successful businessman of his time. The attraction of the sea came naturally to Girald. His father had been a ship's captain while in his 20s, and his grandfather had pursued a career at sea while only 10 years old. The familial influence likely affected Girald's tendencies towards the water, a talent that would eventually lead him to America in 1776. Lesson for young people. You may just be starting out in life, but the little things that you learn, the little things that you experience can shape your future in ways that you might not see right now. The early business know-how that Girald acquired came after sailing the seas first as a recruit and then as a captain, gaining the knowledge that will take him far and wide in successful business ventures other than those that came from his maritime successes. Lesson number 2. Rise above your troubles. Girald did not have an easy childhood. In 1758, he lost the sight in his right eye at the age of 8. Not only was the eye sightless, but it also morphed into a repulsive-looking disfigurement that caused young Girald to be ridiculed and resulted in unwarranted social isolation. The cruelty of those around Girald, both business and casual social associates, as they observed his affliction with obvious distaste, forced him into seclusion at times and resulted in a stigma that labeled him as shy and withdrawn. To compound the situation, Annie Girald, Stephen's mother, died at the age of 36. The continued pregnancies and the labor of childbearing contributed to her death in April 1762. The death of his mother had a very great impact on Girald, and it became the final act that helped send him to sea early in 1764. He set sail from the seaport Bordeaux on the brig Pèlerin as a piloting and apprentice officer. Lesson for the young people. This is not necessarily saying that you have to experience isolation and sadness in order to be successful. But if you do experience hardships, especially as a young person, learn from your hardship and never give up on yourself. Lesson number 3. Work hard. In order to learn as a piloting, many ship maneuvering nuances, normally handled only by the captain of the vessel, was done by the apprentice officer. Girald's instant responses to the demands of ocean travel quickly became obvious. As a result, Girald was given greater freedom and responsibilities in his role as piloting. With that vote of confidence, he was able to grasp not only the demands of handling and commanding a ship at sea, but also about buying and selling cargo, mainly sugar and coffee. And despite the demanding schedule on board the ship, Girald studied extensively, broadening his knowledge and developing a self-confidence that would enable him to command his own ship at an early age. Girald first became a captain of a brigantine named Sally in 1773, working for the French government. At 23 years of age, Girald was a small man of 5 feet 6 inches in height, but he possessed a strict work ethic as the captain. His strong voice had an authoritative ring to it that demanded the attention of his crew at sea, and he allowed no nonsense on board his ship. Lesson for young people: in many a success story, there will always be the imprint of hard work. Without hard work, opportunities will not come your way. If you are recognized for your hard work, it will connect you to potential investors and partners that will push you to success, as seen in Girald's case, where his reputation and skill as a sea captain eventually led him to other lucrative voyages and business deals that brought him great profit. Lesson number 4: seize opportunity. In May 1776, when America was intent on becoming independent from British control, the British countered their efforts by blockading American ports. At this time, Girald was involved in the coastal trade, but he was forced into Delaware by the British blockade, which took him off his intended course to New York and brought his ship to Philadelphia, where he decided to sell it. If you think this diversion would have put a dent in his business plans, think again. In the first few weeks of his residence in Philadelphia, the turmoil grew more incessant, and Girald knew that the War of Independence would mean a short supply of goods. So he established a store in Mount Holly, New Jersey, selling sundry items to the locals, while at the same time selling provisions to the American voluntaries, an act that greatly annoyed the British. Girald had embraced the American struggle for liberty, but in so doing, also saw an opportunity for profit. He continued his business dealings in Mount Holly as the war continued to rage around him, and this was where meteoric rise to riches truly began. Lesson for the young people: experiencing diversions in your plans isn't always a bad thing. That is, if you can turn it into an opportunity. If you as a young person were in Girald's shoes when his boat got sidetracked on his way to New York, would you be able to think of it as an opportunity to be rich? Maybe or maybe not. But the point is, no matter where you find yourself, there is always an opportunity for success to be had. You only need to seize it. Lesson number 5: let your actions speak for you. When a yellow fever epidemic hit Philadelphia in 1793, thousands of American citizens fled the city, including the most prominent of them, President George Washington. But Girald, who could have taken refuge at any safe haven of his choosing, decided to stay behind to care for the sick and the dying. He further supervised the work of other volunteers in transforming Bush Hill, a mansion just outside the city of limits, into a hospital. And it was through his tireless efforts that those stricken with the disease were able to gain a fair chance of survival. In late October of that year, with the onset of cold weather, the terrible disease and the death toll associated with it began to decline, and Girald was recognized as a hero. This public acclaim gained him more prominence that allowed him to be recognized by presidents to come. This position will further escalate his wealth in years to come. Lesson for the young people: have you ever done an act out of sheer kindness only to be rewarded handsomely for it? It must have felt good, I'll bet. What I'm saying isn't that you should do good deeds for the sake of being rewarded, but do good deeds for the sake of helping people. Fearlessly, audaciously, and defiantly, unselfishly serving others, he had looked death in the eye, wrote George Wilson in Stephen Girard's The Life and Times of America's First Tycoon, a biography detailing Girard's life. In conclusion, if you are a young person and you want to be successful and wealthy in life, never disregard your starting point. Don't think those little things that you are taught at home, in school, and by mentors will not make a difference in your life, because they would. If you experience devastation or loss, do not wallow in despair. Instead, let it stimulate you to move forward as it did for Girald. Do not shy away from hard work. It will pave the way to greater success. Look to the life of Girald, who even in his adult life was often seen in all areas of the workplace, never shying away from even physically demanding tasks. And as he said, "My deeds must be my life. When I am dead, my actions must speak for me." Diversions will potentially happen in your quest for success, but it is up to you to seize the opportunities that they offer. And lastly, be generous and kind. Your good deeds will open roads to riches in ways you may not expect. The saying, "What goes around comes around," applies here. Thank you for watching our videos. We'd like to give you another interesting video for you to enjoy next. But before then, our team will be very happy if you can like this video and share it with your friends on social media. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss other interesting videos like this. Look at your screen now to see 2 other videos we handpicked for you to enjoy next. We love you.